Hey guys, so welcome to this lesson on understanding energy management. I'm going to cover two things in this lesson. The first is a lot of you may be curious as to why you don't feel like you have the energy in the first place. Uh, some of you may have already got that insight from doing the focus module, but if not, the first thing I want to cover is why you probably don't feel that energy in the first place. The second thing I'll cover is actually how we start to get that energy back. So, why did you crash in the first place? Number one, you are not doing something you actually valued. And if that's the case, you would have found the focus module really good for you because you would have realized, you know what, like I was actually doing a bunch of stuff that I didn't really care about, and thus, like I didn't have the energy for it. So, in that way, you may already understand why you didn't have the energy in the first place, and you're good to move on, basically. And you move on by structuring your life around your highest values, and that's what we were trying to do in the focus module, actually breaking down your values and your vision, the things you actually care about, into things that you can do every day. And hopefully if you've done that and started to act on those things every day, you will gradually be feeling more and more energy and life again. The second thing is you may have been suppressing yourself. So, for example, I have guys who come to me, and for example, they have a loud mind, they have a busy mind, but they don't speak up. They're quiet. They're having the conversation inside their head, but they never bring it out into the open. So they're suppressing themselves in terms of how they, uh, like, instead of expressing, they're suppressing. And long-term suppression leads to a lack of energy, which is, like that's. And if you think about, there are some other guys who come to me, um, feeling like they don't have the motivation for things. And when we really talk about it, it's actually because of their relationship. Because in their relationship, they feel like they're walking on eggshells, and they're not able to be real with their partner, and like they say stuff, and then there's an issue, and so they end up just suppressing themselves again, and they're suppressing themselves in the relationship, which is a significant part of their day, and that leads to just feeling demotivated in life in general. So that's the second reason. The third reason is because you may have been stretching yourself too far in one extreme. So if you've been going too hard and without resting adequately, if you're thinking that it'll all just be up without down, you're going to have a big crash. Because the truth is that there's no stock market, there's no asset class, like, that will go up without a correction. It'll go up and then correct, and go up and correct. It never just goes even the parabolic things, if you look into the charts, they have corrections. And the reason they do that is because there's not nature does want to grow, it does want to expand, but it can't do that without, you can't have a day without a night. You have to have the rest period, which helps you recharge and heal from the go period, which is during the day. So you have the summer, the winter, the wet season, and the dry season, right? So you have these cycles. And if you've just been living in one extreme, just thinking it'll all be one way. And, I had a guy that I worked with that in the summer, and this is actually what happened to me as well. In the summer, I would go super hard because I don't know, just sun's out. I just feel all this energy. I go super hard. I was going super hard, and then as a result, I would crash a lot in winter and wonder why I felt depressed. And now I realize, like, I've got to just, I can't do that. Like, if you can't go too far to one extreme without expecting the other extreme to come and hit you, for your body to catch up and be at, calibrate back to the natural pace that it wants to grow. You can't be at this unsustainable pace. And so the way to, depending on what is happening to you, if it's the third one, it's, for me, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go at 60% every day. And in fact, I'm going to track my intensity every day. And I know if I'm tracking on 80% every day for too many days in a row, I need to, like, reel it in and take time to chill and try to offset it. and you can do this not only on a weekly management basis, but also on a daily management basis, where you basically, uh, I have like, thanks to your calendar, when it's your go time and when it's your rest time. So you want to make sure that that's always integrated well, and you want to be nice and balanced as a result. And that's what's going to keep you sustainably going forward. And that sustainable, consistent going forward without crashing is what will yield you compound results, because slow, consistent progress starts to compound. Where whereas if you crash, then you lose your momentum, right? But if you're going consistently, you'll gain momentum and you'll compound. So that's the third one. If you are suppressing yourself, then that's again, you're in one extreme, which is you're just suppressing yourself. And then the key there is to work on expressing yourself, and we do that through the goals that we set. Like the goals that we set, for example, for you, it may be to be more confident. So maybe one of your goals is every day you talk to people, you talk to random people, you talk to people at the coffee shop, you smile at random people, things like that, to help you bring you back to center. It's all about coming back to center, to be honest. And even if you look at number one, you were doing something you didn't actually value. That's also a suppression, right? It's self-suppression. And what you want to do is start to do things that you value, and that's how we get back to the center. That's the underlying theme of all of this. So in terms of how we progress from here, now that you've got some good context of it, as I mentioned before, a lot of people say they know what to do, but doing it is the actual problem, right? And they'll think about all there is to do, and they get stuck in their head, and they never get started. So I imagine this story is sounding familiar. See, energy is the key to unlocking the change, and more specifically, momentum. So this module will show you how to attack it from multiple angles, and our job. So what we've got to do, we've got to start small, and I'm going to show you that on the next page. How we just start with little things, and we instill one positive habit at a time. The reason we do this is because it takes a certain amount of discipline and willpower to build a habit. But after that habit is actually in there and cemented, it will no longer need the same discipline and willpower, because you will be in the momentum of doing it. So let's say that you start to do, like, and this is how I recommend all the boys start, do Wim Hof breathing every morning in the morning. If you don't know what Wim Hof breathing is, you'll find a link in this course. It takes 11 minutes. Do the Wim Hof breathing every morning. Do it so Monday to Friday. You can take the weekends off and do it for like 2 weeks straight. After about that 2 week mark, you'll find that every morning you're just doing it. You don't need to even think about it. You just do it. It's a habit now. No more discipline and willpower is needed. Then you take your discipline and willpower reserves and put it to stack on a new habit. And then you do that for 2 weeks, push through and do it until that becomes second nature. Then your discipline and willpower reserves are again free. And then you get to put it on the next habit. And that's how it's like building a system or a process. We're just adding layer on layer on layer on layer, right? And that's how you turn it all around. So over time, this will build into a wonderful well of energy. And the way I would recommend you think about it is, if you think about this castle right here, you'll see that what I would suggest doing is actually just starting with this base, which is, say, the Wim Hof breathing, right? After you build that tower, don't worry about the rest of it, because right now what would be overwhelming you is you're trying to build the entire castle. I'm saying don't do that. Just build this crenellation. After you've built that, then you build this one. Then you build this one, right? But you focus on this one for now. Once that's done and it's a habit, then you can take care of this one, and then that one, and then after a strong foundation, you can worry about the rest of it. Okay, so let's just focus on getting you moving a little bit first. And then if you're moving a little bit, then just focusing on moving a little bit more, right? But make them into habits. That's how we free up your discipline and willpower reserves. So just start with one single element of your morning routine. Do it no matter what for 2 weeks, and then add the next layer. We'll supplement that with the additional learnings in this module. So I hope that is making sense. So with that all said, let's make it practical. Think about your morning routines and think about what you can start adding right now to make into a habit no matter what. Think about what order you'll stack your habits, and you can start to apply that right now. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next lesson.